Game started.
Danny from Sweden. Okay, e4. Let's play the French defense. Haven't played that in a while. Okay, we get a normal French. And exchange French. Actually, I think that's called the Rubinstein variation. It's the exchange French when... this is the exchange French, right? When black initiates the exchange, it's the Rubinstein variation. When white initiates the exchange, it's the exchange French. Exchange French. So this is kind of equal sort of position. It's not so great for white, but white still has the advantage of the first move. It's just a symmetrical pawn structure. 3 pawns on the king side, 4 pawns on the queen side. Makes it pretty even and difficult to get an edge. So if there is some move that can be played to unbalance the position, I'll probably try and play it. One idea is to play c5 here. And if he takes, to give me an isolated pawn, then I've got some kind of imbalance going. And it doesn't immediately lose material. This pawn is defended. Let's see. Tactically in this situation, I have the queen and the bishop pointing against this guy. So if I can get a tempo move with my knight, that would be good. Let's see. Maybe I'll just play here b6 so I can develop my bishop. And if I play the move a5, I can develop my bishop to a6 and maybe trade off the light squared bishop, which would leave my rook temporarily in an awkward spot, but that can be remedied. And it also gains space on the queen side, so that should be good for something. Yeah, there's interesting ideas like rook takes bishop, just sacking the exchange there, because it brings the queen here into the pin once again creating the pin. Let's go ahead and play the bishop move and see if he wants to trade bishops or move it to a different square. There are other squares he can go to along this diagonal. He decides to play a pawn move instead. So let's think about this. If pawn takes, you can take with the knight or the pawn. Let's see, if I take his d pawn, he takes back with the knight. Let's go ahead and do that to start with. Then maybe just dropping the bishop back here so his knight can't come into c6. I don't want his knight there. His knight could go, both his knight or his bishop could go to f5, which is a good square. I would probably place a piece there myself. But I'm hoping I can find some counter to that. Yeah, and now this bishop is loose. So I guess I have to play here. Now there's a pin once again on this knight. And there's also the idea of a knight sacrifice on h6. It's getting a bit uncomfortable here. Well, there's no... I can't play king h7 because of the bishop, which I have not succeeded in getting rid of. Now maybe I should work hard at getting rid of that bishop. Maybe playing the rook here and the knight to e4 to go after the light squared bishop. Because I don't like this array of force building up around my king here. I think it's a bit dangerous. Okay, so white is pausing to think. Yes, this is probably a good moment to find out if there's some killer blow that can be struck here. The d-pawn is still defended by my bishop. The knight is pinned, so it's not defending it. I'm sort of expecting just rook takes. After rook takes, I don't really want to play knight to e5 anymore, because he could take my knight on f6, and then that would mess up my pawns. So rook takes, queen takes, and it's his move anyway, and then I want to move my queen away somewhere, and then I want to play knight e4. Well, it does unpin the knight. Maybe I should move, after rook takes, queen takes, I should think of moving the knight on f6 somewhere. Maybe I could go to g4, maybe I could go to e4. That's a possibility, supported by the bishop. But if he doesn't take my rook, then I want to play knight e5. That's my plan. Okay, are we still connected here? He's thinking an awfully long time. I'm still connected. Okay, so he played a move. That wasn't lag either. He was really thinking. So he's just stopping the idea of knight to g4. He didn't do anything about knight e5. Maybe he doesn't need to, but this is still a move I want to play. And if the bishop just retreats, then I can move my knight to g6, hitting his bishop on h4. Possibly is worried about the f2 square. If the bishop trained on f2, a knight on g4 would be uncomfortable there. The knight, his knight on d2 is blocking his queen's defense of the f-pawn, and his rook has already been moved out. Of course, if he'd played a move like rook takes rook, then I have to respond to that immediately, and then he could have paused to think about how to defend f2 after that. Well, it appears I've posed some problems for Danny, so that's good. I looked at our record here, and I've played 2 games against him and lost both of them. So I think one of them was on the channel, too. I think I've played him before and recorded it. So maybe I can win one. Still, it's not like this is a winning position. This is very even. I'm just saying he's thinking a long time, like it's a difficult position. Okay. So if I take the bishop, he could take the rook with check. Queen takes. And then take the knight. And then do I have some great discovery with my knight? I guess I can escape here attacking his queen. Well, let's play this. I wanted to get rid of that bishop. That was my plan. He just took with the queen. Okay, so I think I need to trade rooks here because of the knight. Well, the other thing I could try is g5 here. Blocking the pin, and also perhaps takes. Pawn takes, knight takes, and a trade of queens. But if a pawn takes, queen takes, rook takes, then he takes the knight. then my pawn structures are messed up. So I think I'm forced to play g4 here, g5. And I'm just sort of hoping there's no good sacrifice there.
Check.
Yeah, that looks pretty good actually. This is this is why Danny beats me, I guess. Okay, so king g7, and bishop takes g4, defends. That's annoying. But where else can the king go anyway?
Check.
He just goes back. Is there a reason for going back rather than taking the pawn? I can't really go anywhere other than where I've gone to. I guess I could go to I could go to f1 instead. f8. I don't know if that's any better. Well, can I get away with king to g6? Knight there, check. Here, check. Of course, anywhere the knight moves is going to be checked because of the discovery of the queen. So, but a knight move here would be a double check. Still, I don't know what else. I'm thinking any move other than knight to e7, I can play knight to... okay, I need to I need to take with the knight there, I guess, because I don't want to lose my queen to a discovery. He can play knight to d6 check, hitting my bishop over here on b7. And I would play, oddly enough, I would play king to h5, hitting his bishop, because I don't want to lose material for nothing. That still loses, though, because when he takes the bishop, he'll be attacking my queen.
Check.
Or if he goes there, this is a double check, so I just have to move my king. There's really no choice. And then he takes there. But this gives me back a piece, doesn't it? Yeah, so he didn't play that the best way. I think he was completely winning there. And now I have some hope. I've got a piece, and he's destroyed all my pawns around the king. So could still be losing. Could very well be losing. He could take on d5 and get another pawn here. But I do have an extra bishop that he doesn't have. Yep, there it goes. So rook over. And look at the time, 2 minutes to 3 minutes. Well, we're doing okay on time. 1, 2, what's the actual pawn situation? Yeah, it's 3 pawns for a piece.
Check.
So materially, that is considered even. So that's a double attack. He's hitting this pawn over here and the king. But I'm going to round up this pawn, I guess. So if he takes, I'll take with the rook defending the a pawn. And pinning his knight. You know, if you can get lots of activity with the pieces, you can make up for the lack of the pawns. That's why 3 pawns versus a piece is only a rough estimate of where material equality is. It all depends on the specific position and how active you can get with your pieces. Okay, so he's coming in with his rook. So I'm going to play rook takes, because that forces the queen to move, and the queen has to go somewhere to defend the knight. Unless he can make some other threat. So now I can move my queen and make a threat against the knight again. there were only a way to make a
Server
double threat.
announcement.
You know, I want to put my queen on this diagonal and threaten checkmate and threaten the knight at the same time. This looks like a position where there ought to be something good somehow. Knight here looks dangerous, for example. Maybe queen here. Oh, I can't move my knight. That's one problem. And queen is pinning my knight. The queen
Check.
moves to unpin. And I have some moves. He's got a check here. A check. If I go to the back row, he checks on b8 and picks up my bishop.
Server
So I
announcement.
have to go to the side and check here. I can interpose with the knight or the queen. The check here attacks the knight. So here, even here perhaps. Let's see. I have to think about all the diagonals. There's this diagonal here. I guess I should stay on the light squared diagonal. I control more of those squares. So it can check here or here. And if he checks here, I have blocking with the knight as a possibility. Okay, so now I'm unpinned and I can move my knight here. Attacking his queen and attacking f2. I have check here, actually. That's probably more forcing. Too bad I don't have a dark squared bishop.
Check.
Well, there, let's get the rooks off. That's one less thing to worry about.
Check.
And now what? Everything. There's no loose pieces here. I can take his knight. Well, let's go here and defend the bishop at least. And I think anywhere the queen checks
Check.
me from, I can move to defend my knight. Aha. Trying to set up
Check.
another discovery. Okay. I'm thinking this check here is guarded. And I'm threatening to take his knight. So he probably needs to move the knight. Also, there's checkmate threatened on g2. A complicated situation. What is his move? He needs to move the knight, and he needs to defend g2. So I think knight f3. Okay, that defends the knight. That does not defend the knight. Okay, so probably a little bit of time trouble there. Yeah, I think he had to play his knight back to f3, unless there was a flaw with that. Could be there was a problem with that
White
too.
resigns.
Okay, well, hey, that was a good game, and I was lucky to win it, I think. I'm going to upload this and do a postmortem. See you guys later. Bye.